Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Vince Sims. Today we're tackling a subject that's very much on our minds and in our noses and throats right now with everybody coughing and sneezing. We're talking specifically about allergies. My guest in this segment is Dr. William Bowman from the Center for Allergy and Asthma of Georgia. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us.
Nice to meet you, Vince.
All right, when it comes to talking about allergies, I guess you're definitely a good one to ask about. And we want to talk about children and allergies because it's pretty prevalent with children as well. It's not just us adults suffering.
Absolutely. Yeah, we see a lot of kids in our practice. Allergies can start at a very, very early age. Really, most of the allergens are similar to what you would see in adults. The year-round allergens like the dust, the animals, then of course the seasonal, the spring, we're seeing, as they mentioned earlier, the tree pollens, grass, weeds. We also see a lot of food allergies as well, so that's something that probably is even more common in the childhood than in adulthood, but yeah, we see a lot in kids.
Now, do you have to handle it differently or treat children differently than, say, if I had these type of allergies, or if a child comes in with it? Do you treat adults and children differently?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is different. For one, the way that we test may be a little bit different. The classic way to test is with skin testing, and some of the younger kids we may have to resort to blood work, which is pretty accurate as well, but we may do blood work for that. Some of the medications, nasal sprays, eye drops may not be well tolerated in the younger kids. And of course, allergy shots, the oral drops, really is reserved for, kids older than 4 or 5,
So then what is the best way to treat a child? You're saying they don't like the needles, they don't like the drops, or, what?
Well, it's sort of the same, except for the shots, which we do at older kids. The classic things for management of allergies, number one is going to be avoidance measures. It's best to know what your allergies are actually to versus shotgunning it, getting rid of carpet, getting rid of animals, doing everything. If you can identify, hey, this is what this kid is allergic to, number one is going to be avoidance measures. Avoid those things. Secondly is going to be medications. And we do have medications, antihistamines, some medicine called Singulair that's a chewable tablet. And of course, some of the older kids, can have the medicines that adults have as far as nasal sprays and whatnot. Around 4 or 5 is when allergy shots, start. A lot of times it may take several years of exposure for some of these seasonal allergies, really for them to really develop and declare themselves. So that's sort of a positive thing. You're not born with allergies, or something that develop.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about how about the food allergies mainly, because with children that's very important with the food allergies.
Absolutely.
And how you treat those, and how schools and daycares have to address and handle these as well when identified.
Well, really the mainstay of food allergies is going to be avoidance. If you're allergic to food, you need to avoid it. That means reading labels, using caution at restaurants. With respect to the schools, or really any kind of caregiver, it's going to be real important that they're aware of the allergies that the child has, the severity of it, and have a detailed plan in place. There should be an action plan on file that should include, if they had these symptoms, this is how you manage it. These are the medicines. This is when to call 911, etc. The medicines should be available. If it's a severe reaction, injectable epinephrine should be available for use in a severe reaction.
All right, I know we saw some peanuts and peanut butter in that one. We're going to talk more in depth about peanuts later, but besides peanuts, taking that one out of the equation, what are some more of the more popular food allergies for children?
Yeah, for children, you see a lot of milk and egg. Those are likely the two that are the biggest. Wheat and soy you see as well, but not as much as the milk and egg. One good thing about those allergies, if you can say there's a good thing about it, is that those tend to not generally be as severe. And a lot of times kids will outgrow these types of allergies by the time they're, say, 4 or 5 years old. The nuts, the shellfish, seafood, those oftentimes stick with you and oftentimes can be more severe.
How do you learn that a child grows out of one of these allergies? When do you know to test again or figure it out?
Well, that's why we do the testing. Especially for the milk and egg, sometimes they'll accidentally get into something, that had it, or a baked form of it. So we may think, well, maybe they've outgrown it. So we will do the testing, and we'll oftentimes, specifically for milk and egg, repeat it when they're several years old. And 80 to 90% by the age of 5 have outgrown it. For the peanut, we'll periodically test for it, but especially if it's a severe reaction, very unlikely that it's going to be outgrown. They have a blood test that's very specific for peanut allergy that is oftentimes helpful as well in determining the severity of the peanut allergy. Not all peanut allergies the same.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And stay with us, because after the break, Dr. Bowman will share tips on allergy proofing our homes.